ever work what you tell the Lord you're going to do. I remember the day I got saved and I was on my knees praying, and I told the Lord, I said, Lord, if you will save me and forgive me of my sins, I will do anything you want me to do. I'll do anything. How many of you prayed that prayer and you said, Lord, if you'll forgive me, save me, whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. And the Lord spoke to you and told you what to do, and you ain't done it. You won't work for Him. How many folk remember the 10 virgins, the 5 wise and the 5 foolish virgins, Matthew chapter 25? You know, there was 5 wise virgins that they had oil in their vessels. They were ready to go. But the 5 foolish virgins, they were trying to live off of the oil that was in the wise. Give us some of your oil. Let us buy some of your oil that we can go into the marriage supper. Let us have some of your oil. What about Matthew chapter 25 and 14? About the talents. About where the master gave 5 talents and all these talents out to them. And they didn't work their talents. They hid their talents. The Bible teaches us in 1 Corinthians 3:13 said, every man's work shall be made manifest, for the day shall declare it, because it shall be revealed by fire, and the fire shall be tried every man's work of what sort it is. This morning I understand people not having jobs. I understand this morning that people having rough times, because we are having it rough financially. I don't know one family in the United States of America right now, unless they're a millionaire and they got oil wells somewhere, is not having it rough financially. And it seems like that people in the church have just sat back. And we've said, you know what, preacher? I'm not going to have to work for God. Preacher, I'm not going to, I'm going to let somebody else do my calling. I'm going to let somebody else do what God's called me to do. And listen to me. There's nobody in the world can fill your shoes other than you and what God's called you into. If God has called you into that ministry, can't nobody do your ministry but you. Can I get an amen here this morning? Now, you can run all over the country. Had a friend this morning sent me a friend request on Facebook, told me that they were going to go to Decatur this morning and try this church in Decatur. And I got sick to my stomach. Oh, I got so sick to my stomach. We go for the lights and the glamour. We go for anything goes. It's sad, folks. It's sad that our churches have come down till we have become nothing more, nothing less but an entertainment institution. We go to church for the entertainment. We go to church because we like the singing or the music. We like it because the preacher will pull his shoes off and walk across the stage barefoot and call that holy ground when you just listen to what he's saying. It's not anything to do with holiness. You wouldn't even know God. If God stood 10 feet in front of him, he wouldn't know him. You say, preacher, you're judging him. By their fruits, you'll know them. I have a problem with folks when they tell me they're Christians, but they still live the same old life they always live. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with folks when they get up and they do things in the church that they know that God's not pleased with, but we pat it on the back and we say, you know what, that's okay. That's okay. Prop me up, preacher. Make me feel good. It's okay. If we want to stop the unemployment problem in the church, and if we want the church to grow and do what God has called the church to do, then He's calling for you and me to be about the Father's business. In general this morning, I don't think there's one person here this morning can say, as we get ready to leave the service here in just a few moments, can say, you know what, Brother Pace? There's not one person that couldn't say this. Brother Pace, I know I can do more than what I'm doing. Brother Pace, I know I can do more than what I'm doing. Well, Preacher, you just don't know. You just don't know what all I'm going through. You just don't understand. Preacher, you just simply don't understand. You know what the Word said? The Word said you did run well. But what hindered you? What got in your way? Well, preacher, if people would quit offending me. Quit being so easily to be offended. Amen. When people say something you don't like, just let it roll off of you like water off a duck's back. Do y'all realize how much people say stuff to me that hurts my feelings and all of that? And the flesh man wants to rise up and say, hey, don't you talk to me like, do you know who you're talking to? But you can't. You just got to love them and demonstrate to them Jesus. But this morning, stand with me all over the building. We're going to end the service this way. I've got to go to the